Okay, so this, I haven't even been down here yet. I mean,
well,
this is all new to me.
What we did here is there's about a 60-foot right-of-way, which is a pretty wide right-of-way for Nantucket. But what we did was require the developer to weave the road within the right-of-way to at least give it some interest. So it curves the right-of-way.
Oh.
Now this is a fairly new development. Jeff Kashulik is doing this one.
This one in here.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
But this is, you know, admittedly a suburban type, you know, style of development. It's got a cul-de-sac street on it.
Right.
It's suburban character. It's got half-acre lots.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the big issue that we're really dealing with here is where should this occur? You know, and you know, the character issue is, you know, should it occur in the vicinity of the moorlands, which has been occurring, because we have more or less, you know, fairly traditional zoning on the island: large lot, 1 acre, 2 acre, 3 acre zoning, and you know, should it occur in and around the existing village, which is really where this is occurring, right here, or do we do something in order to make sure that it doesn't occur out in other areas such as the moorlands? If it occurs out there, does it affect the character of the island? You know, is large lot development something that really, you know, preserves open space? Does it, or does it run counter to that? Is it something that, you know, that really in character with what the tradition of this island was, which was to have development occur in and around village centers? And then the hard part of it is, you know, how do we accomplish that?
That seems to be, in my opinion, the village center idea seems to work better, because then you can maintain those large tracts of land and still have, so that's kind of like clustering, isn't it? At the same time, would it be considered that?
Yeah, well, just clustering on individual parcels of land doesn't necessarily accomplish that, but clustering in and around, or concentrating development in and around village centers does accomplish that. It might mean, the trade-offs are, of course, you might need more density in and around village centers, and always the controversial part about you know, transferring density in and around village centers is, these are the people that receive the higher density, and they're not always willing to receive it.
Oh, I
okay?
see. I see.
And of course, in the sending area, people are delighted to see that density leave. You know.
Yeah, I got you.
And so it's a matter of reaching consensus on how to do it. In fact, in 1990, in town meeting, the goals and objectives that we have right now, the underpinning of that is the village center concept. Town meeting at that time said, we agree with this as a general plan. Where we really have fallen down is in implementing this. And when it comes to the nitty-gritty details of how to implement village centers, we have not reached agreement on it.
Do you want to drive out to Sconset now? And
sure, why don't we do that?
Okay, we got a little time.
We can go down Pulpus?
Yep. Yeah, that's.
Then we'll look
nice.
at some of those developments on off Pulpus Road that jut out into the moorlands. And there's some of the characteristics.
right. We haven't even had a chance to look at those.
Right. And we can
Because
check out the new Pulpus bike path.
Yes. Which is, when is that supposed to be done?
Well,
I mean, that seemes to be dragging. Or is it am I out of... They seem to be going...
Are we on camera?
Yeah, we're on.
Okay. Well, it is, I mean, I don't think it's dragging. It's just a very complex project.
Oh, is it?
The replication area out there is a 3-acre created wetland.
Yes.
A 3-acre created wetland.
That's good, though, isn't it? Or how do you feel about that?
Oh, I think it's excellent.
Yeah.
In fact, this might be the most novel replication area in the Commonwealth, if not, you know, in New England right now. It's seeking to replicate a coastal plain pond. It's never been done before.
What about the downtown area, Main Street? Are you in favor of shutting that down so that it's just pedestrian traffic rather than... How do you feel about that?
Well, I really don't favor the idea of shutting it down for just pedestrian traffic.
I
think we've got to be a little careful about creating an artificial type of atmosphere.
Exactly. That's the first thing I thought of.
Yeah.
It'll seem like a theme park. It'll be like Disneyland.
Well,
won't it?
I think you're probably right about that.
I mean, the place is so unique in the world, really. I mean, as it is already, that if you make any more concessions to the feel of it, it's kind of...
I mean, here we can see...
A ride, yeah.
Here we see the shuttle bus stop. We can see also, you know, the people are using the...
for their bikes.
Yeah, they're using that extensively. Right. We have probably 700 to 800 bikes that have already been used during the shuttle season this year. have been transported using the shuttle. So it becomes a means for people to take their bikes, different parts of the island.
Yes.
Get it out of the congested areas and into the more rural areas.
Good idea.
But getting back to the downtown, we have to deal with the reality of living with cars in the downtown.
Right.
This summer, despite the shuttle, very obviously the downtown is still very much congested, and we have to work harder at some other alternatives to reduce our dependence on cars.
Yeah. Well, if I don't have to take my car downtown, I'd prefer to take my bicycle.
Well, Kathy and I have been trying to survive on a single car here.
Right.
And it's difficult. It's less difficult in the summer, and we have found that you can do almost anything without having to use your car.
Right.
I'll go and get a haircut without having to use my car.
Yeah.
We'll go to the movies without having to use the car. To go someplace to eat without having to use the car.
Right.
Sometimes you can take 2 different shuttles to get somewhere without using it. One thing you got to get used to is perhaps spending a little bit more time getting to where you're going.
Moore's End Farm, right?
Moore's End Farm. But when you look at the assessor's map, you'll notice that the entire frontage of this property has been already cut up into lots. So it's not protected.
Oh, it's not protected.
There's a possibility that at some point these lots might be conveyed. It should be really a priority for us to make sure that doesn't happen.
How do we make sure that doesn't happen, John?
There are a lot of things that we can do. Certainly the land bank can be a factor in preserving it. The nonprofits can then also participate in doing it. We just simply have to create, our priorities, which means to target the few farms that we have left to preserve them in some way.
North Pasture.
North Pasture.
Yep.
Now you notice here on North Pasture that we have a lot of houses that poke up out of the landscape.
Yes, right.
And perhaps if we have time, we can go out to Altar Rock. I'm not sure we're going to have that kind of time. But you go up there, you can kind of look at what our panorama looks like. From there, and you'll see these houses jutting out of the landscape here.
Right. And do we want that?
I don't think we should. We want it.
Right.
Certainly, the message we've been getting from a lot of people is that this type of development really is not appropriate.
They seem hidden here, though. We're driving along here. It's hard to see them.
Yeah.
Until you. But if you're out at Altar Rock,
if you're out at Altar Rock, and it also juts into Conservation Foundation property.
Yeah, right.
It's almost completely surrounded.
Right.
But this is a suburban style of development. These are fairly large lots.
They're large, and the road has a nice
turn
to it.
Yeah.
It's not like a squared off.
That's right. But these are
some privacy too.
These are some of the questions. These are very tough issues.
But if you're going to plant
really resolve.
something, isn't it important to make sure that aesthetically you have, roads that curve rather than a straight line?
Oh, absolutely. And in that sense, this certainly does that.
Yes, in that sense. But then if you're up on Altar Rock and you see all this beautiful wide open space, and all of a sudden you see this blotch of area where you see the tops of houses.
Yeah, this is not in and around the village. This is in an area that never really had any development.
I see. Right. So this is what could happen to the moors.
Yeah, this can continue.
Yeah.
There are still some key parcels left out there. In fact, we have counted about 23 to 2,400 vacant parcels out there of all different sizes, from the smallest to the very largest. So there's still a fair amount of potential out there. Some have argued that most of the large, so-called good parcels or good developable land is nearly gone, and that we're into some land with a lot of wetlands and that type of thing.
Right.
But still, there's still a lot of opportunity. Probably there's 25 to 30% of the island left to be developed. Still a lot of opportunity to have either a positive effect on the character of the island or a fairly negative one.
Right.
And so we're dealing with some choices here that we're dealing with, in the comprehensive plan. You can see how difficult. Here's another point. See that bus stop over there?
Yeah. That bus stop.
Yeah,
sure.
That bus stop. One of the benefits of having a village concept, or as close to a village concept as possible, is that development becomes less dispersed. Okay. this development over here,
Yeah.
to a great extent, cannot be served very well by a bus stop on Pulpus Road. Okay, so a lot of people are not going to be willing to walk that full distance into
Yes,
here.
exactly.
If you had concentrated development, then it's possible to plan your system, your shuttle system, such that you can serve these areas more efficiently. So people in that development are guaranteed to have to get into their cars to get around.
Mm-hmm.
That adds more traffic to the island. I'm not sure you're going to be able to pull in here and avoid all of this.
Are they actually doing the work?
Yeah, they are. What they're doing is they're pulling the material out of this area, they're mixing it with gravel, and they're putting it down on the base over here.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah, but you can see the pond up there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was that there before, John? Was there a pond?
The only thing that we had in here that still exists is a very small pond, which is called a mud hole.
Jeez, that's a good sized pond.
But this pond is going to be almost 3 acres in size, and it's going to replicate a coastal plain pond, which has a fairly dramatic fluctuation in water level. In fact, it can and probably will become dry at certain times of the year, particularly at this time of the year.
Wow.
We're actually getting some plugs of materials from other ponds, and we're planting them in and around the bottom of the pond.
Really?
And we're creating some wetland vegetation along the fringes of it.
What do you think, John? It seems to me that there are really two sides to what we can do. We can either stop building and put a moratorium on building, or we can only get involved with proper planning. Or should we just like slow growth by saying who can build and who can't? I mean, what do we do?
Well, the moratorium is tough. In fact, town meeting pretty much rejected the idea of a complete moratorium. There were a number of warrant articles that talked about it. A moratorium, though, really presupposes that we are going to change something and that we're working on changing something. For instance, working on a comprehensive plan. A moratorium is not a permanent solution to anything.
Right.
It is meant to be a stopgap measure. I think most voters at town meeting really felt that they put confidence in the comprehensive planning process and are moving the process along and reaching some kind of conclusion within a couple of years. And so the moratorium was an idea that was rejected.
Do you think that the concept of a moratorium will always be part of our?
No, I think the concept of
town?
Perhaps some kind of controls or management of our growth is definitely a concept that is going to take hold here. I mean, it's already been accepted to some extent because the Builders Association submitted a warrant article to limit the number of dwelling units to 225. Now, that's admittedly a fairly high number, but it is an interim control, and it is something that provides at least a basis for our considering something that we can all agree on. And most people, I think, are suggesting that the 225 is probably going to be something that is relatively high. It's probably considered to be the high end or the extreme that we might be able to accept. Okay. The difficulty is deciding on what rate is acceptable and how that affects the economy, of the island. Right now, one of the issues with, in our economy work group is there are a whole lot of people that come here on a Monday. All you have to do is go to the airport and see the number of vehicles, the number of people that are coming off the planes, and this is money that's leaving the island.
Yeah,
and
right.
It's been estimated between 250, 300 people. And it means that we have to do some homework to decide, what level of activity it is that we can accept.
Right.
And it doesn't do us any damage.
Right.
Yeah, we can head up into this area.
You want to go up, or do you want to go to?
Oh, you want to go down to
Codfish?
Codfish?
Yeah, let's go down to Codfish.
Are you going to talk about the erosion?
Yeah. I mean, what is it as a planner, and what your responsibilities of a planner? I mean, what can you do to help these people? Really?
Yeah, this is an extremely complex issue because we've got a situation where a lot of the patterns of development over in here have been in place for a fair amount of time, but this is the only place in all of Sconset that is below the coastal bank. If you look this way, you can see that that no development has occurred. This is an area of dunes.
Yes, right.
And if we look that way beyond Codfish Park, we'll see that none of it has occurred here.
Right.
These were fishing shacks that evolved in this area, and if they had remained fishing shacks, there wouldn't be the kind of concern that we have right now, because now there's a fair amount of investment in this property.
Yeah, right.
And what occurs in this whole area, of course, is that some natural erosion takes place. We're in an erosion cycle right now in this area. In fact, some of the maps that we have suggest that over the last 20 years, in the order of about 200 to 300 feet is eroded off of here. And then in contrast, we have an area that's accreted in the order of 300 to 400 feet down here. And what to do about it is a difficult policy issue for the Board of Selectmen to deal with. One of
Is
the
it split on the decision?
Well, I don't think they've really dealt with it right now.
Yeah.
They've been petitioned to protect this road, or this edge right here, so that this road is preserved, so that access to all these houses is preserved. I think everybody has conceded that the houses on this side, are not going to be preserved, that they're going to be moved. I think most of them have probably been condemned right now. And the issue is, what happens if this road goes?
Right.
But of course, one of the difficult issues that the property owners are dealing with are, the laws of the Commonwealth as it relates to, how they can make insurance claims on any damage. Right now, a house must fall in order for there to be a claim, which is really unfortunate. And of course,
and they just paved this road too.
That's right.
So they're doing something for these folks out here.
Yeah, I think they petitioned the town to pave these roads in order to stabilize them, particularly down there. Want me to get out?
Maybe be a little bit more involved. Do you think so? I think there's a very few people seem to really be truly involved. There's a handful of really good people involved, yes. But most of the people I know are too busy making money. I mean, they're working so much and making so much.
That is the number one frustration of the process, and that is to try to get as many people as possible involved in this. And I really think we have involved a whole lot of people, probably in the order of, I would say, in the aggregate, 300 to 400 people. Which, and in my experience, and again, I've been a planner for more than 20 years, that is by far a planner's dream, to get that many people involved in a process.
Yeah, right. I mean, you've worked in other towns, so
I've worked in other towns, and if you can get a couple of dozen, you're really fortunate.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
But
So I guess that it's true to have. It's better to have a handful of really.
If we didn't have the handful of dedicated people that we had now, we wouldn't be where we are. We wouldn't have any chance of a plan.
Yeah. Right.
Maybe
we could talk about this. Why don't we talk about this?
We're not going to be able to go very far into there if you wanted to go in.
But we could go in a little bit?
You can, up to a gate, and then they're going to make you turn around.
Maybe they won't.
No,
they're really...
I mean, I did this I had the Secretary of Executive Office of Environmental Affairs with us, and we had a very difficult time getting in.
Wow.
But
why is it so hush-hush private?
Well, because it's members only.
Wow, man.
This is the gate. They're going to stop you right here.
These people are going to stop me?
Oh, sure. They're going to stop you dead right here. How are you?
Hi.
We can't go forward, right?
Is that camera on?
You bet.
Yes, it is.
What's it for?
Well, it's for TV. We want to go in and see what you guys are doing.
You're on.
It's not turned on.
Can we go in and just take a peek around, drive around a little bit?
Is that on?
Yeah.
Can you turn it off, please?
I'll turn it off, and then you can.
The next time.
Maybe the next time when we make plans.
Yeah.
If we'll call before we come out.
That might be a good special show for you.
Yeah, we'll
Thanks
do that.
a lot.
Bye.
You can just turn around right here.
Okay. I want to get out of the way for these guys here. Thanks a lot. Well, that's kind of an interesting. So it's going to be what kind of what are we looking at in there?
Well, this is an 18-hole golf course. I guess it's even it's a links style golf course.
Yeah, right.
But it's but it also, you know, it preserves a great deal of the grasslands here, endangered species, wetlands.
It will preserve all that.
It has preserved it too.
So they've done a good job.
To a great extent. They've done an excellent job. Well, this was fun.
You had a good time?
This was a sort of a welcome, you know, welcome respite from the computer, sitting behind the desk.
Is that what you did mostly today?
Well, I did some of that. I had a couple of meetings this morning.
Yeah.
But mostly, you know, mostly sitting at the computer, getting some reports out.
Yeah.
Every time you have a meeting, you got to do a report on the meeting.
Yeah, I get you. So do you think you'll be a planning director for the rest of your life? Is that something that, do you really enjoy it?
Yeah, I do. I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah.
And not too many planners stay around for this long, you know, in the public sector.
Right.
They generally go on to be consultants or do something else to teach.
Right.
But I really enjoy it, and I'd like to go on to retirement doing this.
Who was the planning director before you?
It was Alan Gordon.
I didn't know him. Then again, I wasn't.
And then there was Bill Klein, who spent 17 years here. What's going on here?
Exactly. I don't know. They were working on it earlier. I guess they're. Oh, look what they're doing, John.
Yeah, that's nice.
Hi, Ryan. How are you? Good. These guys fixing up the sidewalks a little bit. The crossing. Handicap accessible.
Yep.
Interesting. How are you? Good. You gotta love this town, don't you, John?
Sure do.
Gosh, we are so lucky to live here. Hey! Gosh, it's just an amazing place.
Yeah, Kathy and I are enjoying it very much. Well, we're back.
We're back, John.
Well, this has been great.
Yep,
The planning shack.
I've enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gino. And
You're welcome.
thanks for the
That's
drink.
for you, buddy.
We'll see you.
See you soon.
Got it
Take care.
down.
Yep, you got it. It's the ladies I've got to help.
Take care of yourself.
See you later, buddy.